Welcome back. Phone line still lighting up. 412-575-2600 on the Bordas & Bordas hotline. Josh Taylor, Gene Collier. Also taking some tweets at Josh Taylor HD. Gene, we got a tweet from Kevin who says such a big deal is made out of Ben Roethlisberger piling up yards at a team record pace and somehow valuable. Piling up fantasy points means nothing unless the team wins. That's where the value is. It's tough to pick the QB as valuable when the team fails as a whole. Thoughts on that?
Well, they picked somebody else. I mean, we're talking about Ben versus everybody else, not Ben as, you know, the guy who's supposed to single-handedly win every game. So I don't understand this complaint necessarily. I
am looking at it from the perspective of, and I don't disagree from the team success standpoint, but then you have to go back and remember a lot of the team success or the early part of Ben's career was probably more on him and not him specifically.
Well, definitely as a rookie, so, won 15 times.
Right. So
he did contribute.
Certainly. He did contribute. So it does kind of change that lens because the team was pretty successful when he played in his second year and they won the Super Bowl, but that wasn't really based a lot on him. There was a lot of different dynamics. The defense was there. The running game was a lot more prevalent. Had a Hall of Famer in the backfield. So it was a little bit of a different focus as far as that team was. And that team was pretty successful. So if we're hanging the team success on the quarterback, maybe that's not the best lens to use, I guess is the way we should look at it. Right. Then again, we talked about a few moments ago, this team is largely based around him and as he goes, the team goes. So I guess there's two different sides to that coin. But at the same time, me personally, I have no problem with Juju winning the award because if you're making it the MVP for that particular season, and now here's the thing. I've always said if you want it to be a Most Outstanding Performer award, call it the Most Outstanding Performer. Don't call it the Most Valuable Player because it's misleading and it can be interpreted a bunch of different ways, or at least it has been over the years. But
it was a very successful MVP election this year in that the whole MVP idea is to generate conversation like this. Otherwise, it's completely meaningless.
It's just like
unless we talk about it, it's completely meaningless.
It's just like anything that involves Jerry Jones. If people aren't talking about it, then it was probably a failure. Back to the phone lines. Jake in Greentree. Gene, he has a question for you. So, Jake, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Jake.
Hey, good evening, Josh, and hey, good evening, Gene.
Good evening.
The Nightly Sports Call, and
appreciate you.
But my question for Gene is, been following your columns for many years. I think even back to the days of the Press.
Sure.
Pittsburgh Press.
Right.
And just like the annual Rite of Spring, I think your annual Trophy column is due this week.
Correct.
And is it the 35th or the 30th? I'm not even sure now.
Yeah, thanks for your question. It is, in fact, the 35th annual Trite Trophy. That's how old I am. And he's right. It goes back to the Pittsburgh Press. Started in 1984 in a full deadline panic. That was like the second column I ever wrote because I thought, well, I could be a columnist because I got opinions. I wrote one. I thought, well, I'm out of opinions. So I'm going to string together every cliche in the book and pass it off as legitimate social commentary. And I've been doing it every December since. The point of it is to rid the language, the sports language in particular, of cliches. That has not happened, Josh.
No, it's probably not going to.
But thanks for asking about it. It's Sunday in your Post-Gazette, the 35th annual Trite Trophy column.
Two things I will mention to that column. One, out of respect, I will not tell you how old I am in relation to your column. Number two.
You're younger than my column, Josh. Column.
I'm slightly older than your column.
How about that?
Slightly older.
Amazing.
Number two, my all-time favorite, and this is just me talking here, is the draft column. Like with the all-time draft of anybody in history.
Yeah, that wasn't a column per se. That was a bit I did on DVE, but I appreciate that very much.
Among your work, that is my favorite.
Thank you.
That's just me.
Appreciate that.
Let's go back to the phone lines. Let's go to Rich in Brentwood. Rich, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hey, Josh, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hey, Josh, I want to wish you and Gene a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yeah,
same to you also. Thank you.
And make sure Gene buys you a drink after the show. And I want to say two things. I think the Penguins are doing very good now. Murray is up to par. And the other question is, I think Cleveland's going to beat Baltimore because I put a little wager on it.
I guess you can do that now. Go over to the north side and make that kind of wager.
Yeah.
Two things, those two questions. Number one, Matt Murray, and I have to credit my colleague and friend Angie Carducci from Inside Hockey Magazine. She was one of the first people that told me not only does Matt Murray look good physically, but she felt that he's in a much better place mentally. And it does kind of show. Just his demeanor after games. He's a lot looser. He's just a lot more easygoing, not as tense. It seems like there's not as much pressure on him. I think he's had a much different mental approach to this season, taking some time off, and that injury probably helped him with that regard. But he also does look good physically. On the other side of it, I do like Cleveland to beat the Ravens, if for no other reason. With Baker Mayfield on the field, I'm going to give him a shot. Your thoughts, Gene?
I think it can happen. I'm not sure that it will. I think the best aspect of it for Steeler fans is that Cleveland really wants that game. It's not that Baltimore doesn't want it. I mean, obviously they have to have it.
Oh, they need it.
Yeah. But Cleveland's playing well. Baltimore is, in my view, due to play not so well. They've been playing so well. I mean, everybody's got, a bad game in their system, as no one has to remind Steeler fans. So maybe it's Sunday in Baltimore.
In the meantime, we will take a break. We'll wrap up when we come back. Stick around.